Spectrovision Radio.
Hey guys, Jordan here. I want to let you know that paid subscribers over on our Substack will get access to what we're calling an epilogue after every episode. Basically, after we've covered all the planned material for the week, we'll leave the mics on for 30 minutes or so and sort of just hang out and keep talking. We're putting these epilogues behind a paywall for two reasons. First, we know the thing some of you want most is longer episodes, so hopefully this scratches that itch. Second, this might surprise you, but there are actually a lot of things we're careful not to talk about in our regular weekly episodes. If we know our conversation won't be public, we don't have to be so careful. If you want to know what that's like, head over to godsghostsufos.com or just hit the link in the description. And once again, you can do that for free with a 7-day trial. All right, enjoy the show. Welcome to Gods, Ghosts, and UFOs, the biggest podcast in the universe, where we talk about all the things they said weren't real. My name is, as it ever was, Jordan, but I go by J.E. Peterson on the internet to avoid being confused with a Canadian who is, if we're being honest with each other, much less famous than me. I believe my co-hosts will confirm this. Tom?
No.
Mallory?
I mean, I am Tom. You're more pleasant than him, I think, is the how you... That's how I feel about
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Good enough, I guess.
Noticeably more.
Today, we're also joined by a fourth musketeer, Richard Hatem, who is not only the talented writer behind the film adaptation of the Mothman Prophecies, he also hosts a truly excellent and highly recommended podcast called Richard Hatem's Paranormal Bookshelf. Link in the description, obviously. Richard, can I call you Richard?
Absolutely.
We're thrilled to have you here.
I'm thrilled and terrified to be here.
Oh man, Rich Hatem, come on! What a feather in our cap. Forget it.
Is it the ghosts that terrify you, the UFOs, or are you afraid of God?
Yes to all of the above.
Understandable.
I just don't want to disappoint you guys.
Oh,
I'm playing with the big boys now. I want to make sure I can, return whatever you're serving.
Well, Tom, speaking of big boys, do you have your big boy pants on? Are you ready to kick
I
us
want to
off?
kick us off. One of my dogs is chewing on a bone, so if you hear something that sounds like zombies devouring a corpse, if you hear some gnawing sounds, what I'm going to do is share a link in the chat.
Have
you got it?
I see it.
Let's take a few moments. Actually, let's look at this so I can mute.
I'm already watching it. You can't stop me.
Yeah, I'm there.
Stop me.
Wow, this is my favorite thing I've ever seen. Whoa. Oh, wow. Oh, the second one in the background's even better. Like, what could that... Is that a human bent over if that's a human? You know, like, you'd have to be a contortionist. It's just a pair of pants without a top half. It's
With
just a
nobody
pair of
inside
white
'em.
pants walking around. I've never watched that.
This doesn't
whole
make
thing.
any sense. What am I even watching here?
This is the classic. I mean, this is the one. This is the Patterson Gimlin film of Fresno Nightcrawler material.
I love it. It looks so much like a puppet, like in the way that it moves.
Yeah.
Wow. Tom, I love it so much immediately.
Here's the background, which I picked up. I really went deep on the research to visit Fresno County website. The Fresno Nightcrawler first crept into the scene in the early 2000s. The original sighting was reported by a local man who was startled awake by his barking dogs. When he checked his home's surveillance feed, he spotted two strange, leggy creatures gliding across his front lawn in the middle of the night. He woke his brother, who claimed to find small footprints in the yard. By the time investigators arrived, whoever they were, any trace of the creatures had been washed away. The original CCTV recording was eventually lost, but somebody filmed it, so we have that weird monitor clip that went viral. And that was kind of the only thing. I feel like there is another Fresno Nightcrawler sighting besides that one, and I think it's from Yosemite, and that may be the one that we saw. This thing went absolutely viral, and it does. They look like marionettes, don't they? But they look like very large marionettes. And then who is able to guide them across 20 or 30 yards of lawn at 3 a.m? picked up by one dude's surveillance camera? Like if you're hoaxing the Fresno Nightcrawler, why? Why would you do that? Anyway,
Why go to the effort?
why go to the effort and
either
you have
not
no
a show.
guarantee of anything being picked up at all? And then
No, I mean, they just look like Miyazaki characters
do.
casually, like, taking a stroll.
Oh, yeah.
Are they? Is it possible to tell like how? Because I didn't have any reference point. How big do you think they are?
I mean, we have these trees in the foreground, which also
Yeah.
makes the video even cooler. I love that they're walking,
Oh, yeah.
and we get to see them walk past those big trees, but we can't tell how far they are from the trees, so they could
Yeah.
be quite tall.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
They
I
look
thought they
kinda
were
big.
like human size or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little, looks like a little baby one. It's made 4 appearances apparently. 2 of them in California. The first one, the OG in Fresno, right? The guy's surveillance camera. The other one, the very, very grainy one coming toward the camera in Yosemite National Park on video footage. A man has also claimed to see one in Poland. And there's been another sighting in Billings, Montana in 2020. There have been many possible sightings of the Nightcrawler in the form of the Carmel Area Creature, a thin, armless, pale white humanoid, which was seen in Ohio. One witness.
That might have been me.
Yeah. If I had to guess, Rich, I'd say you were legless, not armless. But one witness was a 60-year-old former Marine, yet to be named, and his wife were driving near Carmel on December 12th, 2014, when they came over the hill and saw a 7-foot-tall, slender gray creature, which is now known as the Carmel Area Creature. So it sounds similar to the Fresno Nightcrawler. And then another unnamed witness said this: "We recently bought a place in the Fort Hill area in southeast Highland County. We first noticed after about 30 days of living here that we suddenly have a perfect circle that stays fresh green no matter what the weather in our front yard. On Friday night, the 12th, we were driving home. After turning onto Carmel Road, which leads to our road, we went around the curve by the Carmel Church and then up a small incline and approximately 10 feet over the incline and in front of our truck. The alien ran across the road and into the woods." The creature's also been spotted in Yosemite, where footage was again taken from what appears to be another security camera. This time there are 2 creatures, one being about 1.5 meters tall, which is what, 4 feet, 4.5 feet? And the feet of the creatures can be seen, as well as what appears to be some sort of webbing connected from the knees to the upper part of the body on at least the big one. People speculate it's an alien, it's an extraterrestrial, could be a new species, could be a primate, could be a misidentified deer walking on its hind legs, pants, or a puppet, a marionette, a bird, a person wearing big pants man.
For the listener who hasn't seen this and isn't jumping on YouTube because you're driving your car, it looks like a creature that is in the rough shape of a clothespin. It's all leg with a head on top, except in this case, the clothespin has, it's able to move. It's sort of walking. Yeah. And it does look sort of stiff-legged. I don't get a real sense of any kind of articulation at the knees or joints or anything. So it's kind of doing like a stilt walk, which makes it look very weird. Like it's not comparable to any other cryptid that I know of or that I've ever heard of. And I was curious if it had ever been seen with the naked eye, because all we have are these videos. And I'm like, well, is that all we have? Or but then you said someone did see
said
one
it ran across
the
the road. These things aren't running. And in fact, their gait isn't natural at all. There hardly seems to be any sort of musculature. There doesn't seem to be any correspondence or any sort of obvious propulsion. They move. They move look like a marionette moves.
Yeah, they don't really look animal. Like they don't look like like a biological creature. They don't look like a machine. They just look like it doesn't connect with anything in your brain. It's not like, oh, that's like this. It's like I've never seen anything like that before. It's just.
But at the same time, I think if you Google this, you don't immediately come across a bunch of other, computer graphic artists going, oh, here's what this is. Here's how you create this image, and let me just imitate this.
No.
I mean, which you could do. And I suppose you could do that with anything, but there doesn't seem, there was no immediate debunking or explanation. It's just sort of there.
I love it unreasonably, and I love it for the same reason that I love crappy in-camera movie effects that are like obviously just sort of crappy as opposed to CGI stuff. Obviously fake. And I wanted to ask, because Mal had the exact reaction I did, which was instant sort of, I don't know, slightly creeped out adoration. Can you describe your reaction, Mal?
I mean, I think it kind of goes to Jordan comparing it to a Miyazaki creature, like, or what this person says in the comments. The most liked comment on the video that you had us watch is from someone who looks like possibly Russian based on the screen name. Every cryptid monster's like, I'm gonna kill you, but this Fresno Nightcrawler walk-ins like, they see me rolling. It's like there's something non-threatening about this mystery because of its design. And that is, any animator could tell you how long you can work on a creature to make it not too scary for children or right in the right place. And there's something about the way this thing is designed that it's lovable. It's lovable. And I think the thing that's maybe spooks me the most is that I can't tell if what I'm seeing is the creature or if it's wearing a cover and what's underneath should be covered because of how scary it is. I don't know. It's like, it almost looks like if, like, Richard was calling it a clothespin. If it was like, we're talking about like some kind of scary, long-legged, spindly, what is that called? What do we call him? That Slender Man looking thing that has put a sheet over its body to be like, I'm just a spooky Halloween ghost. It's like, it's a very strange.
That's what it looks like, a ghost. If a ghost's sort of body sheet were divided down the middle. And then sort of these narrow, or like a portion of an octopus kind of thing.
Okay, but
Maybe like.
You know how stilt walkers are scary because they're sort of towering and they're leaning forward and they sort of have this swaying gait as they're coming towards you that I find to be somewhat predatory. Maybe that's just me.
Yes.
But these things,
they're carnival workers. Of course, they're predatory.
Thank you. These things are more like keep on trucking. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe it was 4:20 in the morning when they went out for a walk, if I may put it in this way. You can't imagine them trying to run you down. They just aren't going to build up a head of steam.
Well, I will say this. I'm trying to imagine just in my mind's eye, like what my emotional reaction would be if I saw these things.
Terror?
Instead of the camera, it was me like, in the same exact perspective. And I think I'm with Mal. I'd be like, well, that's not, it's very interesting. It's very baffling, but I'm not like scared. But then if I switch it just a little bit and imagine them walking toward me, I'm like, no, I'm scared. I'm real scared now. It's like,
or if it turns
I don't
out
want
they're
them to
7
notice
feet
me.
tall.
There's something about
how big are they actually?
It's not Uncanny Valley, but it has a similar effect on me where it's like, this is so sort of improbable and yet is happening. And I can't reconcile that. And it's upsetting me in a way.
Yeah,
like when I first saw it, I was just agog. Because part of me was like, that's so janky and fakey looking. And the other part was like, that's happening.
That looks so real.
Yeah, and I'm having some problems, some cognitive issues.
There's been a lot of conversation around the interplay between like our consciousnesses and the sort of like universal consciousness or whatever, or the way the interplay between the observer and the thing observed, and that there are these so many different phenomena. And you could talk about fairies, you could talk about UFOs, you could talk about cryptids, and that there are a lot of instances where it seems like there's a relationship between the person who is seeing the thing and the thing, so that like the way the thing manifests, even physically, is on some level potentially influenced by the person who is observing it. But none of that is going on here because it's freaking security footage. So it's not like there's somebody there determining what the manifestation of this thing looks like. It really it seems like it looks like that all by itself. Like there is no relationship between observer and observed. It's just because it's security footage. So like so much of the footage you see of this stuff is like it's so blurry and like hard to see and hard to kind of like, you kind of have to guess at a lot of what you're looking at. But like with this, it's like, nope, there it is, right there. It's what it looks like. That's how it moves.
And
I mean, anybody can look at it.
Security footage is sort of notorious for not being sort of reliable. It has compression issues and all kinds of stuff, and it just there are a lot of sort of spooky security clips that are actually probably prosaic, and it just looks weird because of the nature of that kind of media. This is not that, though, is it? It's because it's very consistent all the way through, and the fact that they're behind some trees, I don't know. It's very near and dear to my heart.
Did it ever happen again? Do we know who this guy was? I mean, is there any more information?
Here's what we know according to my 2.5-minute search on the Google machine, which is that this thing is what is
doing the hard work, Tom.
Going deep. You know how I roll. The Nightcrawler has appeared 4 times. Once in Fresno, the OG footage that we saw, the man who was woken up by his dogs barking, the Yosemite security footage or whatever, a guy in Poland who apparently filmed it, and another one that is from Billings, Montana in 2020. Right. Then there's this other entity from Ohio, which showed up in around 2014, that they're calling the Carmel Area Creature, which from its description is almost identical. That is to say, thin, tall, armless, pale white, humanoid, leggy thing. That was witnessed by the Marine vet and his wife and other people as well.
That's in Ohio.
That's in Ohio. The other,
so not Carmel, California, which is also
it's in
more in the vicinity of
apparently
Fresno
it's in Ohio. Yeah, it's an Ohio thing.
Oh, that's weird.
It's very strange, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, they got long legs. They go far pretty quick, I think.
They could walk pretty quick.
And they had years. They had years to get from one place to the next.
So generally speaking, the Fresno Nightcrawlers, the first film that we saw, aren't actually that tall. So the guy in Ohio said he saw one that was 7 feet tall and claimed that it ran in front of their car. These things that we saw are 1.5 meters. But what we also saw was a tall one and like a small one behind it and farther away, but it looked much smaller.
Yeah.
And their knees bend backwards.
Oh.
Yeah.
They
I
do
think
have
that's
knees.
probably
They're just
Yeah.
other way.
Yeah, they're like David Lynch.
That's probably part of the reason that the gate looks the way it looks. Do you think this footage is sped up or slowed down at all? Slowed down is how it looks. I'm just curious because if it's just real time, that's even crazier to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the
I'm going to look at
the
it again.
jellyfish. This sort of jellyfish octopus feeling. It feels almost like it's moving underwater. It's got that sort of very languid sort of thing going on.
Just because of how slow they're moving. But if that's their pace, it's like it's basically like you'd have to be a Tai Chi human to walk that slow. You know what I mean? With that much control, and it's very intentional.
I had a dream once where a lady said, I am in loathe with her. And I am in loathe with the Fresno Nightcrawler. It really messes with my head.
Okay, well, Tom, this is for you. Okay,
thank you.
No less than a week ago, one of our assistants who helps Susan and I with our podcasts, her name is Sailor, and she was showing me a picture on her phone of a little doll that a friend made for her of the Fresno Nightcrawler. And it almost looks like a tooth because it's got those 2 legs. Yeah. And she's like, I love this thing so much. And I'm like, well, sure. Because at the top, there's a little like smile, like a little face. But she's like, no. And here's why I love it. And then she goes to the next picture, and it's the back of the little thing, and it's got a butt. It's got a little butt crack.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely ending the segment with the Fresno Nightcrawler's butt. What did you bring for us today, Richard?
Well, I noticed, because of the feeds that I follow, there was a promotion, I guess. Now, what I understood it to be was that the El Cortez Hotel in Las Vegas was going to sponsor a ghost hunt. And it was a contest where a lucky winner would be given $5,000 and the opportunity to conduct a ghost hunt in their hotel, which is one of the oldest hotels in Las Vegas and is, quote unquote, notoriously haunted. I go to the website of the Il Cortez Hotel, and the very first thing that comes up is a big banner saying, apparently there's this thing online that says we're doing a ghost hunt. Well, we don't sponsor that. We're not affiliated with it. We have nothing to do with this promotion. So then I'm like, well, wait a second, that's odd. So I've seen articles. So I went and looked at the articles. Here's what it turns out. There is a website called casino.org that seems to primarily be involved with the promotion of online gaming websites. And they present themselves as, we sort of cover the field of online gaming, and we tell you what sites to go to and what sites to avoid, and we're sort of the professional kind of clearinghouse of these websites. And they make their money by endorsing certain websites, and then as business is driven to those websites, they get a commission. Okay, that's who is doing this. Now, how they're able to just say, hey, we'll give you some money to go to that hotel over there and start f***ing around in the hallways late at night, which, by the way, in Las Vegas, people are probably doing anyway, but still. But here's what they're doing. So here's what they're literally offering. You enter this contest, and here's what they say. They say, we're going to give you $500 to cover your food for the weekend. And then we're also going to give you $800 to buy the equipment to conduct your ghost hunt. And we're going to recommend what things you should buy and maybe where you could buy them. But you have to buy them. You have to buy your EMF meter or your tape recorder to tape record EVPs or whatever. And then in mid-December, you go to the hotel, because by then the contest is over, a winner has been declared. And then in that first couple of weeks of December, you go and record yourself. You now do work where you're recording yourself doing a ghost hunt at a hotel that does not endorse it. And they're like, send us your scariest clips, your funniest clips, your weirdest clips. And then once you send that to us, we will then kick you the remaining $3,100 of this contest. That is the contest.
I'm lost. I don't understand.
That's weird.
It's very weird. It's almost like you sign up with us and we'll kick you a couple dollars to go to Vegas and create content for us. And when I look, and so I'm like, well, you know what? I'll apply to the contest. And then the minute I started, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. This is an email scam. They're just trying to get email addresses.
Oh.
Jeez. Of course it is.
Yikes.
Of course it is.
If I do this, I'm going to get spam from them 6 times a day for the rest of my life.
And so will your children.
Okay, so that's sort of the real world thing. But what are they trading on? What they're trading on is obviously 2 things. Ghost tourism, which is a thing, and Las Vegas ghost tourism, which is also a thing, but so commercially driven. If you go to Las Vegas, I don't know if you guys are Vegas people or not. I am. I go at least, it feels like once every year, every couple of years. I'm pretty close because I'm in LA. But they have ghost tours. And if you go online, there are a number of current hotels that are supposedly haunted, according to the employees and some visitors to those hotels, including Planet Hollywood and the Venetian.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does totally make sense, especially if you consider that hauntings often come from traumatic experiences, and I can't imagine a place in America with more per capita traumatic experiences than Las Vegas.
Yeah, right? Yeah, just the sheer mass of humanity that goes through. And of course, two sort of worst in the world tragedies have occurred in Las Vegas. One was a devastating hotel fire at the MGM Grand on November 21st, 1980. Dozens of people were killed. A fire that started in the lobby in a restaurant. The fire was put out, but toxic gas started flowing through the air ducts. And when they thought the danger was over, people upstairs in the upper floors were dying in their sleep.
Terrible.
I mean, and literally it led to an enormous overhaul of fire safety procedures in all new construction and old construction in the last 45 years. So it was the 3rd worst, most deadly fire, I think, in America at that time. And then, of course, just a few years ago, 2017, the mass shooting at the Mandalay Bay across the street into a music festival where 60 people died, hundreds were injured. And look, that's a human tragedy. I'm not trying to, ghost it up. I have not heard that there's any hauntings at the Mandalay Bay. But yeah, Las Vegas has its share of crazy, tragic occurrences.
Yeah. Well, and they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, or at least that's what they said when I was growing up. And I think they try to launder their image a little bit next decade or so. But there's definitely a lot of psychically extreme things that happen in terms of psychologically. Like the people go to Las Vegas and have a lot of experiences, and a lot of those experiences are not necessarily positive. And so it makes sense that there might be maybe a higher incidence of what we often associate with psychological extremity in human experience, which is, part and parcel with hauntings. Also, man, if I was a guy who died in a hotel because of poisonous gases, I'm thinking of ghost activism, I guess. I would totally haunt that place until some changes were made, Well, guys, do better.
Well, what's interesting, because it's hard to take anything that is in Las Vegas at face value.
Yeah.
But there were hauntings. The old MGM Grand became Bally's, and the hauntings there that were reported that I read about all seem to be people who appear to be going through a normal human activity, entering a room, leaving a room, and then flicker and disappear. And the flickering part, flickering in, flickering out, transparent people in the casino area. Transparent people that then flicker out of existence. Those are the kinds of hauntings reported there. Now, at Planet Hollywood, and much more recently, on the 6th floor, and again, that is a hotel that used to be the Aladdin Hotel, so this is a structure that in another life did exist for a period of time, probably had its share of human tragedies. On the 6th floor, it's almost entirely poltergeist-style activity. Objects moving around, doors opening and closing, lights flickering on and off. Apparently there's, subreddits and online forums of employees who talk about it quite openly and say, yeah, it's the 6th floor. Here's my experience.
I just read about the Venetian, which is the hotel that Tupac Shakur was murdered out in front of in the late 90s. He was driving in a car with Suge Knight, and somebody pulled up alongside him and blam, blam, blam. And Tupac was hospitalized and died 6 days later. And apparently, people see a shadowy figure with a bandana cross that street in front of the hotel. And they believe it to be the shade of Tupac Shakur.
Was there any mention of hauntings inside the Venetian? And by the way, I'm sorry for people booking their trips right now. Planet Hollywood, get a room on the 7th floor, not the 6th. The 6th floor is the Venetian's problem. And again, I think that's more what you might call run-of-the-mill hauntings. And there was one guy online, and this is just, he was telling his story about being in the room and repeatedly hearing someone try to enter his room, which just on a realistic level would be disturbing. Yeah. Someone kind of working at the doorknob, and there was whispering outside also. So at first he's just like, well, someone's, got the wrong room. Big deal. Yeah. But after the 3rd or 4th time, he yells, because he's in the room, he's awake, it's early evening. He yells, "This room is occupied." And that seems to stop it. So he's like, okay, that ended it. Then 15 minutes later, it's starting up again. So he jumps up, runs to the door, kicks it open, or yanks it open. No one is there, but he can hear that whispering, those indistinct voices in the hallway now that he was hearing right outside his door. And now he's hearing it move down the hallway. No. He follows the voices.
Okay.
Braver than me.
Gotta like this guy.
The voices dissipate. He returns to his room.
Did he catch what they were saying? What the discussion was?
No, it was indistinct human whispering. And he's like, now keep in mind, when you're in Vegas, you can hear people coming up and down the halls and they're joking around. And I've had that experience many times of hearing other guests as they're coming in and out late at night, and you can hear voices. It usually doesn't sound like whispering. It's just people talking to each other.
Yeah.
But the indistinct susurrus of whispering outside his door that he then is able to follow down the hall until it dissipates.
That's threatening.
That's very different.
That's just as scary. No. People whispering, especially if they're like trying the latch on, your door handle. That's not good.
Awful.
I also just read that people claim to see Elvis walking around in the Westgate Hotel, walking around the hallways.
Well, I mean, that's...
But of course they do.
It's Vegas. Yeah.
There is a man who is posting on YouTube right now. He's going by the handle just James. That's probably not his name. And the videos started on September 16th, at least the videos that you can go and watch right now. September 16th. That video only has 9.7 thousand videos, and the title is Weird Thing Again. And then in the description of the video, I am now driving home with it in my car. I feel so many different things right now. I will not commit suicide. And since that day, this man has posted 40 videos total. He has just under 5,000 subscribers as of today. And he is giving updates about what appears to be an unidentified flying object. And the first video is him... all of the videos, none of them show his face, and he makes all of the best attempts to not show any street signs or make any comments about where he lives. I have no desire to reveal his identity in any way, but he sounds sort of Canadian. He says sorry instead of sorry. Yeah. Who knows where he drives around a lot. So anyway, but most of the videos are of his shadow on the ground while he talks about this thing.
It's vibrating in patterns, and it's vibrating weaker and weaker each time, so if I die, know that I did not commit suicide. I would never do that.
Or of the thing itself. And it looks like a long, shiny, metallic pill. So the first video is him showing that he's put it inside kind of a chest bin, or it was a bin. He put it in like a plastic bin, and then he was driving it home. The next video is him driving it home. He takes it back. He starts to do tests on it. They're the kind of tests that, you might spray it with water. That's what he does in one of them. He's like, I'm going to spray it with some water, and we're going to see what happens. Oh, there's a ladybug on it. And he's like moving the camera toward the ladybug. I'm telling you, I have watched every frame of all 40 videos because I actually think that it is extremely genius storytelling if it's not actually happening. If it's a storytelling ploy, or if he's trying to get views, first of all, it's not working yet. Granted, it's only been going on for less than a month.
That's a lot of videos for a month. It's not like he's cranking one out every Friday or something.
Yeah, it's every day, in part because he's stayed pretty consistent with his intentions. He just wants to understand the truth, and he doesn't want it to end up in the wrong hands. And he's trying to understand it, so he's trying to get the community to engage with him. He's like, I don't know what to call it. Some of the videos are like, what do I do, guys? And then the next video's, actually, guys, what do I do? Because there are some unexpected things that have happened, and things that he's discovered as he got the Geiger counter that he ordered, for example. And the thing is over the charts radioactive, which might explain why in one of the videos previously he felt so sick that he vomit burps, and you can hear it on the camera. I mean, I'm just saying, it's too boring to be somebody who is trying to craft this. Are any of you familiar with Dear David? Have you heard of that story? So yes, Richard's nodding his head. Dear David was this incredible Twitter thread that a man named Adam Ellis was posting in August of, I think it started in August of 2017. And the man had a movie deal by June, of the following year. And he was an illustrator and a writer. And he was posting about this kid with a shrunken in, with a head that had a sunken in spot that was visiting him in his dreams. So he'd post these videos of his cat acting strange. And he did Paranormal Activity style photos of him while he was sleeping, where you could see the kid appearing. I mean, it had the internet all aflutter, but it also looks like an art project that turned into a movie deal, This doesn't feel like that to me. it doesn't feel curated in the same way. A lot of the captions and stuff aren't even, like, the spelling isn't corrected. And he's just kind of like, I don't know, Elon Musk or Joe Rogan, if they want it, I'd give it to him. It's possible that, but he's not, he says over and over again, like, I'm not trying to get famous. Please don't kill me. Government, I'm not trying to, like, it's fascinating. And I do, like, the only thing that makes me think it could be some kind of art project, which is what always comes up, that somebody's trying to do some kind of interesting art project. If they're not going for overt fame now, maybe in the long term they're hoping to have their storytelling skills validated. But like I said, it's too boring, it's too messy, it's too human, at least from my take for now. I'm not saying I know what it is. He doesn't. He keeps saying, I want you to debunk this for me because I'd like my life to go back to normal.
Well, what's it doing that would make you think it's anything other than an inert object?
A man-made object.
Yeah. He saw it flying, and you don't find out until the middle of, like, if you go in order of all the videos, you don't find out until the middle that his first video was removed. It was taken down. The video of him, like, going and finding it in the desert, because he said something about, I think, getting killed, that he was worried he'd be killed. And so he removed that part of the video and reposted it. So it's in the middle of the story, if you go in order, that you find out that he saw the thing flying and went and found it in the desert. And other than that, he did at one point have it on 2 sawhorses in like a backyard area. And he left and came back, and it had lifted and landed on the ground. And that was when he was like, guys, actually, what do I do? It's not on the sawhorses anymore. And again, felt a little convenient that he walks up and he realizes on camera it's not there. But also that could have happened. You know what I mean? So there are things like that where I'm like, wow, I'm riveted.
I'll say this, I have not seen the videos. Obviously, this is the first time hearing about it. But what I like to do is deliver definitive judgment on something with the minimum of information.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the American way.
Thank you.
Let's go.
So with that, I will say I want to weigh in early and say I believe this is a dramatization. This is an artistic narrative that has been created, and it is not what it appears to be.
Okay.
Well,
Because why? Why do you
have-
say that?
Yeah, I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, weirdly, okay, so now here's my bias. It doesn't seem to track with the vast storehouse of stories and reactions that I've heard. It sounds a little bit like the Betts Sphere.
Exactly what I was going to say, Rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I found a thing in the woods.
Right.
Let's bring it home.
And but the fact that he discovers that it is emitting enough radiation, like a really high level that makes him immediately ill, would lead me to go, oh, I really don't want to have cancer. I'm no longer going to goof around with this.
Right.
Also, the early introduction of his existential crisis, which immediately pulls you in on a character level. To me, that's just good writing.
It does feel like good writing, but also people do that for me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's also what endears us to people in real life, is their actual humanity. It's possible this person has a gift for honesty, but I don't know.
You know, it's a shame that Pauline Kael isn't with us anymore, because she could do a really scathing review on James and his work, his oeuvre. You know, that's one of the purest feelings of delight I've ever had, is hearing Rich Haddam criticize this guy's videos as a screenwriter. Oh, yes.
I mean, truly.
Having not seen it, that's what I love doing.
Wonderful.
Can I weigh in for a second? I actually did watch almost all the videos.
I'm impressed.
I was trying to speed run them a little bit.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, and I was trying to speed run a little because I didn't have like that much time. I had like a portion of an evening to try to get through like a lot, and a lot of them are short. They're like 2 minutes or less. So like I was able to grind through a lot of his content. But yeah, there's a lot to say. My overall impression right now is that I'm still on the fence, because there's a mismatch to me between the sophistication it would require to hoax some of the things that he's doing, and the level of sophistication he seems to have as a person don't match to me. I'm also a writer. I have some idea of maybe how I would put this together if I was trying to like sell it, and there are some things that I'm like, oh yeah, that would be a good way to try to sell this, but then there are other things that I'm like, why if you're trying to sell this, like, why wouldn't you do this other, you know what I mean? There's like lots of like sort of missed opportunities to try to sell it. And there's also a lot of stuff that would be really, really, really hard to pull off without being really, frankly, really, really smart. And I'm not sure I see that level of intelligence in the production of the thing, if that makes sense. And specifically, like, there's a big B plot about the Geiger counter.
There is.
He's like,
it's like
everyone's
waiting,
waiting. If you think it's
to get it in the mail.
Yeah. If you think it's radioactive, why don't you use a Geiger counter? He's like, I don't have one. I'm waiting for it. Okay.
Yes.
He's like, I ordered it.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting for the video with the Geiger counter, and it never comes. And then he's talking about having done the Geiger counter, and then people are like, why are you showing it? And then he goes on he's like pissed off, and he goes on a rant
he gets
to
mad.
his commenters. He's like, what do you think, I'm going to put the reading on camera? It's illegal to have stuff that's radioactive. Like, I would immediately have the government come in, like, whatever. He's like, I'm not an idiot. You guys think I'm an idiot. I'm going to put the Geiger counter on camera. So instead he like talks about what the reading was, and he like goes into detail about like what happened when he used the Geiger counter, and he shows the chart about like what the reading. Anyway, it's just very interesting.
But here's the thing. Why is he putting any of it out there? If he's that worried, you know what I mean? If he wants Joe Rogan to have it, you don't need to film yourself talking about it. Just give it to Joe Rogan. Go call the cops and say, this fell out of the sky. Would you please take it off my property?
I will say this.
I mean, there's and by actively trying to, guys, what do I do? Click here.
Yeah,
subscribe and let me know what to do.
To push back on that, there is a pretty dramatic generational divide here. Whereas if you're over a certain age, you're going to be thinking what you're thinking, Rich, which is like, why wouldn't you do this and this and this? If you're
what
under
age
a certain
do you think
age,
I am,
all
Jordan?
people, you're at least 80.
At least 35. Man, please, off air, let's get your skincare routine.
All right.
I'm looking like a dried apple grandma.
You could make a compelling argument. My wife has on several occasions.
I'm 40. I feel like I'm too old to totally understand this, and I'm slowly learning it as I watch younger people operate online. And that people under a certain age, they do this thing where like they don't go to anybody. They literally just start posting stuff online. That's just what they do. They like go to the internet, and they're like, people of the internet, magical humans of the internet, help me solve my problem. And that's just like what they do. And like that, to me, that's like 100% in line with this vibe. And that's one of the least performative things, frankly, to me about this whole thing.
I'm so fascinated by it that I took notes on every video. Like I felt like almost every chapter had something interesting from a character standpoint as a writer, or as a person who's trying to present information that could add to the next part of the narrative, including chapters that are like, here's my boring update today. I'm still not dead. That's pretty much it. I'm thinking about maybe burying it on an island, because like a pirate. I was like, all right. I love this like, it's just stream of conscious sometimes of a person who's trying to figure out what to do. And there's a part of me that's like, as an actor even, I'm like, incredible work if so. Or, delusional people are pretty good actors too, because they've convinced themselves of something. So
there's beyond the bet sphere, there's other things you can point out. One of them, the Blair Witch Project. Here's how it quote unquote started. My wife Susan was working for Disney publicity at that time. And I mean, DVDs were still just barely coming in. This was, turn of the century, the last one. And so VHS cassettes got sent out, and were sent out all the time. I mean, every day in the mail, you would get a ton of video cassettes of movies and things and whatever. So this company sent out 50 video cassettes, and then the next day had their assistant call every place that received one and say, there's been a mistake. I'm so sorry. Those were not supposed to leave. There was basically a clerical error. We absolutely need you to send back those videotapes unwatched, please.
Yeah.
So smart.
So good.
That's so smart.
So people watched them.
Oh, of course.
And were like, what the is this? And they all thought it was a documentary, know?
Yeah.
And they're like, and so immediately, even people who didn't watch it just made copies of it, just like, oh, sure, we'll send it right back. And then made a copy, sent it back, then made more copies. And those copies were all over Hollywood literally, because this is the way it
So
works.
smart. That's
Within
so smart.
within
Oh my
days,
gosh.
people were like, did you guys get one of those? And assistants are calling other assistants, and like,
Yeah.
and did they call you back? But Mallory, my question to you is, how do you think this is going to end? How do you want it to end? And what's your guess? A month from now, what are we all going to be saying about it?
I'm probably the least well versed in sort of the UAP patterns of the three of us, but I can tell you what his guesses are. And I mean, honestly, I think the most likely thing will be that the videos just stop.
That's what I think.
You know, I think
Yeah.
they'll just stop, and it'll be like, oh, some people will be like, he's dead, and some people, like probably the majority of my body, will be like, he got bored of telling his story without Joe Rogan calling. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, like, bringing up people like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, like, kind of backs up what Jordan was saying about, like, oh, this just seems like, it both backs up the idea that he just, like, wants it to be someone who's decently famous, you know, for like, which is like there's so many sort of
Famous,
it's
maybe
just very
decent.
Mel, what is
I
the
was-
thing doing?
Not necessarily famously decent.
What is it
Exactly.
What is the thing doing? Like, he has his own crises, and he's talking a lot about
Right.
You know, but like, what is the thing on camera? By the way, not off camera.
Yes.
So it's magnetic.
It's magnetic.
it's a
It
little
burned his
magnetic.
hand. It was giving off heat at the beginning. He said it burned his hand and that was painful. So he's like not touching it. And like when he puts it on a scale to try and weigh it, he puts it on like a bathroom scale to weigh it. And it's like 15.8 pounds or something like that. He brings a radio to it so he does a radio frequency test and tells he takes a picture of the markings on the end because it has markings similar to the Boogosphere markings that we saw, and then he writes it down and just says, like, if somebody wants to interpret these, like, let me know what they are. There's one video in particular where he's pretty convinced. He has it in a basement at one point, and every time he turns the camera on it, the lights flicker, and then when he turns the camera away, they stop flickering. And his assumption is like, wow, this thing has a mind of its own. It doesn't want me to get a good video of it. Obviously, he's extrapolating or like making that connection to make us more interested. But it seems to be messing with the electricity in that room. And he does take it out of that room pretty quickly. He moves it outside and he does a spray test. He sprays his spray bottle. And then, yeah, there's the video where he comes back and it's like 10 feet from the sawhorses that it was on, and it's in the grass.
Have you had any?
And then it's giving off a ton of magnetic,
which you don't see on camera.
which you don't see. Yeah.
Have you had any whoa moments watching the videos?
I wouldn't say there are any whoa moments like that. I think the only, like, the most compelling thing about the videos is the character himself, not really the thing, which is why it's like this person who believes he's having an experience or wants you to believe he's having an experience, and he's talking about how he's feeling, how it's messing with his emotions, you know.
He's doing improv.
I would say no.
Right?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
cool.
here's my take. My take is either direction, and kind of like with the Boogosphere, either direction I'm happy. Like, this is such a cool...
I know, right?
This is such a... If it's an art piece, if it's a performance piece, if it's an attention grab or whatever, it's really interesting and unique, and I haven't seen anything quite like it. If it's real, that's also obviously really interesting. The markings, I think, are a little bit, not like whoa, but like they are also interesting. Like there's, what do you call it when you take the two triangles and you flip them and then they make a star?
Mm-hmm.
What is that
Star of
shape
David.
called? Well,
The
yeah.
It's
Star of
called the
David?
Star of David, Jordan. Okay, it's not that weird.
Yeah.
You know, if you were an 80-year-old like me, you'd know that.
It's really interesting you brought up the bet sphere, because I don't think that family courted attention. I think they genuinely tried to figure out what it was and put it in the hands of people
Right.
who could give them a straight answer, and then got mobbed anyway, and then were messed with and all that
Totally.
stuff. The opposite end of that spectrum is the Boogosphere. And look at, so there's
Right.
there's some videos of a thing in the air, and then a video of something on the ground, and then all of a sudden, big production, big South American production, and like a 2-hour special with, scientists from around the world and a study and all this stuff where it's just like, and then farmers have turned into video correspondents. Do you know about any of this stuff, Rich?
What was this thing
The
called?
Boogosphere. B-U-G.
Sounds like the bogus sphere to me. Thank you.
Oh,
And with that, Richard Haddam shuts down a rival
Wow.
The
podcast.
mic drop has
Blew our
too much
minds.
low end. Wham.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Couple of quick reminders before you go. First off, if you haven't left a rating on your platform of choice, please do that. One of the first things people look at when they're judging a show by its cover is the number of ratings it has. So if you dig what we're doing, show it with stars. Once again, we tricked our guest into hanging out with us for the epilogue and talked about Mallory's deep-seated fear that science might one day discover a God formula that removes all mystery from the universe. Also, a disquieting pattern of paranormal researchers going insane or dying when they get too close to understanding their subjects of interest, and what makes materialist skeptics so hypocritical when they write off religion or mysticism as an opiate for the masses. If you want to hear it, go to godsghostsufos.com or find the link in the description. See you next week, friends.